Do you know the only item in Minecraft which you can get only in survival mode but not even in creative? This is the arrow of splashing, which you can get normally with a lingering water bottle and 8 arrows, but you can't find it in the creative. It is nowhere to be found. This was the first of 80 Minecraft myths that you 100% didn't know yet. But if you did know more than 10 myths at the end of the video, I will give you $100. Watch this bug, where you can supposedly sprint backwards. The normal speed is 5.61 blocks per second, but if you run backwards, it's only 4.31 blocks per second. But if you hit a wall with a boat, then you get out and stop sprinting at the same time, but start sprinting again, you can sprint backwards just as fast as forward and even sideways to the left and right. You should use this bug when you're running away from bees, because you don't want to look like what you look like when you get stuck by a million bees. And to test that, we need a lot of bees. Once I had enough bees, I only had to dismantle the nest and then try to get stung as often as possible without dying. After some time and many bees later, I can say that the guy must have spent years with his bees, because it only looked like this to me. Bees are also some of the few mobs in Minecraft that can fly. But did you know that with this bug, villagers can fly even more than any bee? You just have to place a boat, then place a villager or any other mob in it, and then fish the boat. Then you set your render distance as low as possible and go away from the rendered chunks. And as you can see, the boat is still on the line. Then I can see the boat from a much greater distance than normal by setting the chunks again. And these are the results. Each of you should know by now that zombies react aggressively against turtle eggs and jump on them to break them. But I'm pretty sure that you didn't know that zombies are not just aggressive against the turtle eggs, but also against the turtle babies when they are already hatched. The thing with the eggs was pretty weird, but this is clearly going too far. Okay, what have these 4 items have in common? Short time to think. If you throw them on the ground at the same time, they should despawn after 5 minutes, right? Wrong. One of them will not only despawn in 5, but in 10 minutes. And this is the nether star. So that is the next myth. A nether star needs 10 instead of 5 minutes to despawn, and for that we need a wither. So let's hide quickly away. Okay, so it's lying here, and we put a normal item right next to it. Never mind. Okay, we now wait just 5 minutes and see how long the items need to despawn. Oh, okay, the sword is gone and the blocks around here, even if you haven't seen them, but the nether star is somehow still there. And you can trust me, it will stay here for another 5 minutes, so yeah, let's go to the next myth. The next myth says that the first enchantment per world is always the same, and we will test it now. So we first need a full enchanter, and let's see what we can get on a gold sword. Unbreaking 3 and looting 3, okay, we will remember that. We should go into the next world, and if this is true, this could be really OP, if you know every single enchantment that comes first. Okay, here we are in the next world. We also set up the enchanter, and if you also get Unbreaking 3 and Looting 3, this looks good. So the myth is true. This is crazy. Did you know that? I don't think so. Then we have a rare thing in Minecraft. It is the rarest thing that you can fish. You're probably thinking about something like an enchanted book or a name tag, but the rarest thing you can fish is this one. Those are 10 ink sacs. Okay, you have not fished it yet, but you can read it in this table. 10 ink sacs have a probability from around 0.1%. An enchanted book, for instance, has only 0.8%. This is cool, I didn't know that, and I bet you didn't know that too. Actually, diamonds should be the hardest material there is, but supposedly you can cut diamonds and any other item with an anvil, and we're gonna test it now. So we put the diamond here and let the anvil fall on it. Okay, somehow it didn't work, but I think it works if it falls down from far above. And it breaks. We all asked the question, can one anvil destroy another anvil? Okay, I think that works too. Okay, everyone should know what happens when I put the snow block next to a cactus. Cactus gets broke. But did you know that I can put a certain block of snow next to the cactus without it getting broken? It's the snow layer. I can just layer it like this and the cactus doesn't get broken. I have never seen that before, so this should also be new for you. Another block myth is that you can turn water into glazed terracotta. The whole thing works like this. First you turn a water block to stone with the help of lava. Then you place a moss block next to the stone and use bone meal, which turns the stone itself into moss. The moss is then turned into pot soil by planting a big spruce tree to pot soil, which in turn is simply demantled and thus obtain dirt, so that half of the process is already done. Next you put water bottle on top of the dirt to get mud, which you then convert to clay with the help of the dripstone. 8 of these clay blocks form the terracotta, and you can color it in any way you want. And finally put it into the oven to get the glazed terracotta in the end. Okay, I bet you know the Mandela effect, where you think thing is what you think, but it's actually different, but everyone just thinks they are right, even though it is wrong. Anyway, here's an example how Pikachu really looks. But this is wrong. He looks like this without the black tail, but many think from wrong memory that the first picture is correct. This is the Mandela effect, so it actually exists indirectly also in Minecraft, because many would say that throwing snowballs knock back other players when you throw them, but this has actually never been the case, except in the alpha version, but this was only for about 3 days. Another fact that I'm sure no one has noticed yet says that the wrong use of tools reduces the durability faster. If you use, for instance, a sword to remove a block instead of the pickaxe, there are 2 durability points that get lost instead of 1. The same happens with pickaxes. If you hit a mob with it, with every hit the durability is reduced by 2 instead of just like 1, like a sword. Each of you should know that a zombie, if he is underwater too long, turns into a drown. But what if you spawn a husk, which is also just a zombie spawned in the desert, goes into the water? The answer is that it takes the same amount of time to turn it into first a normal zombie and then again into a drowned. But why is there this intermediate step? I have literally no idea, it makes no sense, but somehow it makes sense. A zombie villager does not transform at all, it just stays as it is. Every Minecraft player is a bit insane and has voices in his head, but let me explain what I mean with this. Normally on the surface your mood, which you can see in the F3 menu, is at 0%, which is actually okay. But when you grab down, it gets darker and darker around you, and then it decreases until it reaches 100%. And then something happens that every of you has heard before, I bet. Okay, the next fact is really cool because I think I have figured it out on my own and nobody knew it until now. Okay, maybe somebody knows it and I don't know, I have absolutely no idea. Okay, anyway, we built this and we put a boat in it, and the boat itself comes with another zombie. Oh, that is not so good. Okay, so we put a zombie into the boat and we also sit down, and once we turn the boat into circles, you should maybe close your eyes if you can take it. And then we just get out. Okay, what happens? Now you see the zombie is still spinning, but the boat is not. At least from our perspective, because if we sit back down into the boat, it's still spinning. And if we get out, the boat does not turn. And if we get in, the boat turns again. And yeah, I don't understand why this works like this, but it is how it is. Next we have the chance to create a completely new block, and for that we built this little framework here and we put a redstone in it. So the redstone has the property, if you walk over it, it is activated and puts out those little particles, and we could maximize this effect if we throw XP bottles on it. And this is pretty weird because I have never seen it before. If you put more bottles on it, it's gonna lag a little bit, but you can see it looks even more cool with more particles on it. So we created a complete particle block. If you look at the sky, you shouldn't notice anything unnormal, but did you know that you can influence the sky or the weather when you spawn a wither? All of a sudden the sky is like fully dark and the clouds are dark and everything is so reddish, but how come I have never noticed this before? Did you know that? And as soon as you defeat him, the sky becomes normal again? Yeah, with a loom block you can easily edit banners. For instance, I can make here a red logo on it and then here in green. So this is my pattern, and I swear I didn't know it until today, but if you have another banner with the same background, you can just copy your banner as you want it. I swear I have always struggled to get the same pattern and the colors exactly on another banner again, but you can copy it this way. And this whole thing also works with books. If you sign here and then close it, and you can transfer it like the banner to book and quill, and then you just have 2 written books. It's insane. One thing that doesn't make any sense is that if you shoot a fireball through water, it does not extinguish and it can still ignite blocks at the other end of the water. And similar to Ender Pearl Chamber, where you can teleport yourself with the push of a button, and in this way you can also let the fireball as long as you want in the water. If you use Bad Omen on a raid on a village and then defeat it, then 4 things happen happens in the village. 3 of them you might know for sure, but 1 rather not. First, the villager let missiles fly. Secondly, the prices of the villagers become cheaper for you. And third, villagers give some items for free. But one thing that you always overlooked for sure are that baby villagers give you red flowers when you stand next to them. That's cute. Earlier we used lava to turn into stone, but did you know that water sources that have air bubbles on them cannot be turned into stone if you put lava over it? It looks kind of illegal, I'm sure. What is the item that is present in the most crafting recipes? I'll give you like 5 seconds to think about it. It is the iron ingot with 44 recipes that require at least 1 iron ingot. By the way, the item on the second place is wooden plank with 43 crafting recipes. Zombie villagers do not change underwater, but with the help of a weakness drink and a golden apple, they do. But do you know that they turn faster when beds and iron bars are near them? Here's a little test. And indeed it is true for whatever reason. Because we talked about this earlier, how to duplicate banners with 16 different banner colors, 16 color items and currently 6 banner patterns and 35 patterns in the loom. In it you can just crave more than 23 quadrillions of banners. It's unimaginable. In Minecraft there are many different death messages like this one, but one of them somehow nobody knows, and I will show you how to get it. First, you sit down in a minecart like this and you get pushed down with a piston downwards. And here you see in the chat, death.fell.accident.water. I don't know why this is, but in any case we have fallen with the minecart here on a waterlogged slab. And yes, this is the new death message. The maximum sprint speed is 5.61 blocks per second. But this is not correct, because if you also press A or D, then your speed increases again to about 5.72 blocks per second. And this is valid for also cravings with the swift sneak. With the swift sneak enchantment, you can run up to 3.23 blocks per second, but this is even faster if you sprint and then swift to sneaking, then you're 4.20 blocks per second, but if you also press additionally A or D, you will be 5.72 blocks per second, and if you also jump, you are about with 6 point something blocks per second. It's insane. I can predict where the next 2 arrows will hit me. This one will land on my left shoulder, and this one is going to land right into my foot. And I know that because the order of the arrows in my skin is not random but fixed, and by relogging to your Minecraft world, the whole thing is resetted again, and you have a completely new order. In today's video, I have already annoyed so many bees, so here we go again. Bees are not supposed to leave their nests when it's raining outside. Here we have a couple of nice nests, and let's see what will happen when it starts to rain. And again no rain. And again rain. Completely black cats spawn only in witch houses in swamps, but this is wrong because even with full moon black cats can spawn in normal villages. Armor stands with frostwalker shoes can create ice and water, but did you also know that piglins with gold shoes and with this enchantment can also use them? And while testing I noticed that piglins can have up to 8 additional gold items next to their armor in their inventory, and if you kill them they drop all of the gold items. If you place a campfire you can see the smoke through the normal glass, but it is not possible to see through colored glass. Invisibility potions can be applied to almost every mode. It is no longer visible except in spectator mode, because there you can see everything that is actually invisible, transparent. Maybe you have noticed it before, but I haven't yet. Snow layer can be easily placed in blue ice, but not on normal ice and packed ice, and those two are also the only blocks where you can place snow layers. If you put squids and glow squids in such bubble of water, then something very strange happens to them. Badlands biome is always nice to quickly get colored terracotta, and until recently I thought that the pattern in these mountains is always the same, but if I make a new individual world, we can see that those hills are not the same. The pattern is different. For the next fact we have to build a small glass area here. Okay, that should be enough, and if we create a map here, we can see a bit of gray, which is the void, but there's also a small thing transparent, which is of course the glass. And the funny thing is, if we put the map up, there's just a little hole in the map, because for Minecraft it's transparent above the void. I have no idea if this is useful for anything, but it works. I hope we all agree that this auto jump feature is nonsense using it. There is one situation where I still think that it's legitimate to use it, and that it is. If you run upstairs with auto jump, then you get to the top faster. I mean, you can see it here on the timer above me. This is walking me up normally, and now with auto jump on. It was definitely faster, but still, the auto jump is nonsense. So this is supposedly the most broken seed in Minecraft, because if we teleport to these coordinates, like first of all we see nothing unusual. This is a normal Badlands biome. But below is a block that should not exist in Minecraft this way. At least it's not in Minecraft Survival, and it's also not only one block, but there are 5 of them. And everyone knows that such a pig spawner should not occur in Minecraft, at least naturally. But what happened here is that a cave spider spawner spawned at the exact same coordinates as a treasure chest, and for whatever reason, this results in this. Did you know that villager, but especially also you, build fields in Minecraft wrong? Most likely you build your fields as shown here, just like one field and one plant. But actually, if you plant different things in rows, we make it here again. One full of carrots, and here on the left and on the right we make carrots, but in the middle we make some wheat seeds. Then we set the random tick speed to 500, and you can see on the right side there is more happening than on the left side. There everything is fully grown, while here something still has to grow. This is the most glaring bugs in Minecraft right now. All you need for this is a little machine here, and then you place here, for example, a cobblestone, hit it once with your pickaxe into the air and hold left click, and then go briefly on the cobblestone like this. Then you activate the slope and push it back again. Then you put obsidian in between, do the same again with the pickaxe like before, and you remove the obsidian block now. As you can see, it stays here. Now go to another slot that has no pickaxe, and as soon as you click on the diamond pickaxe on the first slot here, the obsidian will be removed instantaneously. You can think for yourself what you wanted to use it for. Many items have several crafting recipes, for example this one. For the axe, for example, I also crafted that way. Recently I did a vote in my community tab, and it seems that you craft more often the axe to the left. What is wrong with you? You can walk over this gap without falling down with the perfect 90-degree element, and some timing, you actually do it every time. If you start a raid in your village, then you should always make sure that the villages are built in. For example, this is not well built in, but do you know that indicators only go after adult villagers and not the little babies? That's nice of them. Maybe you have already noticed that when you get fall damage, you see the particles from the block you land on. And those are the same particles which occur when you dismantle a stone, for example. Those particles are also available for water and lava, although you can't mine them and you can't get fall damage from them. This topic is quite controversial. But which tree do you find better? This big tree or the normal small tree? If you are more into those big trees, then I have a tip for you. The only thing you need is a sapling and 2 blocks, actually 1, and then only a lot of bone meal. And with this method, you always get a big tree. Okay, everyone knows that when it's night and there's a zombie next to you that you cannot sleep. But did you know that when there is a slime next to you, this is the only monster that this does not apply to? In Minecraft there are 4 different rarity levels, which you can see on the different colors here. A normal golden apple is like this, light blue, whereas an enchanting golden apple is purple. Now you can do the following. You enchant the apple with the help of an anvil into a lilac one with the help of this anvil. Now we have first sight, the same rarity, but it does nothing at all. If you put a normal armor stand on fire, the armor will drop. But if you put an armor stand with armor on it with fire protection on fire, it will stand much longer. Yo, now it broke. Copper blocks turn into oxidated copper blocks over time. But did you know that these 9 copper blocks will oxidate faster than these 9? For this we set the random tick speed up again, and you see already the first block on the right has started to oxidate. There's a second, third, and some are already on level 3, while on the left side nothing has happened yet. You have surely bumped into such a zombie village someday. The best way to recognize it is that there are spider webs around those houses. But have you noticed that there is also another difference to normal villages? Namely, all windows are white instead of transparent brown, and this is in every house, probably because it is supposed to show that the houses are old and abandoned. And this is also the only place where you can find colored glass, besides end cities of course. Did you know that soglins attack armor stands, but somehow they are not really successful at it? An unwritten rule in Minecraft is that if you find this room here in a fortress, you put another block into the lava block. But do you know that this whole thing is built in that way? That is not only one lava block, but there is also a single block underneath that block that keeps the lava flows down here. It spreads it out somehow. I have never seen it from the outside, and this is connected with each other. I didn't know that. Dripstone is a very special block. But did you know that you can break them with a trident and then they fly down? Of course, it also happens with the ones on the ground. Correct me if I'm wrong, but dripstone is also the only block that can be destroyed by a trident. In case you wonder, with a bow or a snowball, the whole thing does not break. Warped and crimson nylon can be found best rest with silk touch. But did you know that you can just multiply it with bone meal and it works? But it does not work with this block. It only works when you have a crimson or wrapped nylon block next to the block you want to transform. And you can make these blocks again and again, of course. Wait, I just noticed what happens here actually. Apparently this is random. Earlier we have already clarified what the rarest rod drop is, but did you know that you can also get an advancement? I just got fishy business, but this is not the only way to get this advancement. So if I reset all advancement, then I'ma put the fish there and I drag it. I also get the advancement, it looks like that. Renaming items in an anvil should be clear to everyone. But did you know that it also works with the so-called container blocks? And if you put them here side by side, and look in here, then you can say, okay, it looks like it doesn't work with the anvil and somehow with this one either, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, at least those three worked and those are the most important, I guess. And can you please subscribe to me now? Please, please, please. Spiders can climb the world border for whatever reason. Since a few updates, you can no longer place flares at the sides of shulker boxes, because if you open them, they just drop. But if you can do still or again, if you place redstones in shulker boxes, the signal will be still transmitted even if you open the shulker box and the redstone remains on top of it and the signal is preserved. I have no idea what you can do with it, it's just really cool. But I'm really not that good with redstone. First you have to eat an enchanted golden apple right after that normal one. Then you have to wait 2 minutes for the absorption to go away, and as soon as it goes away, as you can see below, I lost 2 hearts, but that doesn't matter. I just eat another one and an enchanting golden apple, and all of a sudden I have even more hearts. Now you eat a normal one again, and then you repeat the whole thing, and now the exactly same thing will happen to you. You lose 2 hearts, and then you get even more hearts if you eat an enchanting golden apple. For the next fact, I first need a beacon, or somehow I got lost, and I don't know if this is new for you or if I'm just completely stupid, but if you want to have a haste, then you normally do this, so that you have normal haste. Now you could either upgrade here to haste 2, then you have haste 2, or you just go for the haste plus regeneration and then you have both effects. And now to the part that is really confusing. You can now go and get, for instance, haste 2, but now instead of regeneration you use jump boost, for instance. Now you have your permanent jump boost, haste 2 expires, but instead of permanent normal haste, now you have 2 primary powers and no secondary. I don't know if everyone knew that except me, but I have never heard of this before. Boats do not break when they fall from 11 blocks high, but they will break if they fall from 12 blocks high. Why is that? Okay, I have a question for you. How would you breed these 2 rabbits? I would say 99% of you would say with those carrots, and this is true, but did you know that rabbits can also reproduce with dandelions? Somehow you directly think about carrots, but this is also possible and I didn't know that yet. If you already have played through Minecraft before, you must have gone through such a door, either with the help of this button or with a pickaxe, where the door simply drops. But you don't need a pickaxe to drop, it also drops if you destroy the door with your hands. But when you destroy the door at the lower part of the door, it just doesn't drop, it just gets broken. So something must be wrong here. We are already in a stronghold, but do you know when he runs into you that you can just like pause Minecraft? This works when you press F3 and escape at the same time. I mean, okay, sometimes happens this, and of course it only works in the single player mode, but theoretically you could just also press escape and you still have the pause menu here, but it's still quite interesting that you can use those key combinations. The next fact says that each of these villager job blocks is based on its own wood block, but this is not quite true. Here are the first 2 blocks that have wood in their texture, but not in the crafting recipe, at least not the planks, and these blocks have nothing to do with wood anyway. And here are the remaining job blocks with their corresponding wood types. Somehow unfair that dark oaks get directly 3 blocks and spruce gets 2, whereas these only have 1. Acacia, mangrove wood and the 2 from the nether have none at all. But if we leave these 2 out and with the 120 bamboo wood, then you can really think about retexturing the composter with acacia wood and making the smithing table mangrove wood and make the grindstone at least visually with bamboo wood. Minecraft's physics is quite realistic if you throw a potion in a perfect 35-degree angle, and it can reach up to 5.5 blocks. But if you do the thing with a running start, then you get about 1 block further. On this construction you can position trapdoors and then open them, so you can practically go through the rails and you can still use the rails. Leather armor can be dyed in many different colors, but as you can see here, did you know that with this tool, for example, you can also dye the armor in more than 12 million colors. You can put carpets and moss over lava as long as you put a normal block next to it, and it's also possible with moss. And yeah, it could be certainly quite helpful for a trap, I guess. You could rebuild this one, so you place 2 water blocks here and bone meal the ground and then destroy the blocks around it, and here you have just floating water and you can walk through it. Dolphins are actually quite nice, but if you hit them, they will hit you back, and if you already knew this fact, you're probably a bad person because you have hit a dolphin before. I'm here standing right on the 0, 0, 0 coordinates, and when I put a turtle egg here, the following thing will happen. All zombies in the whole world will run to the turtle egg, no matter how far they are away and whether they have spawned or not. They will always run to that point, but it does just work with those coordinates, because if I put the egg 1 block beneath, then the zombies somehow don't do it anymore. If you have an axolotl that takes a leash and attach it to a fence, here's what happens. Okay, go ahead. Okay, I just found out that this also works if the axolotl is not attached to the fence and still in my hand. And if you're bored, you can build something like this. If you spawn an enderman in a world that only has 1 block, then you can shoot it and shoot it and shoot it, and it will not teleport anywhere. But what happens to a dragon egg that actually also teleports when you try to shoot it or mine it? The biggest nether portal you can build is 23 times 23 blocks big. With a pig and a carrot on a stick, you can fly infinitely if you switch the item slot as fast as you can.